Hi there, and welcome to the Bitcoin Takeover podcast. This is a very special episode in Riga at the Baltic Honeybadger conference.
Yes.
And I'm sitting next to Paul Sztorc, also known as Paul Sports to the listeners of Bitcoin Uncensored.
That's true. How's it going?
Well, I guess we're both tired after 2 days of conference.
Yes, we are.
I was busy yesterday.
Yes, you were in a.
Magazines.
He was in like a half kitchen, half booth, hawking his wares,
Shilling.
showing his magazine.
Yes, which by the way is open source and you can get it for free if you only want the content, but if you want the print, it's not going to be free. Paul paid like $52 for it, and I think he was drunk.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds right. I think that
tricked him.
happened. Yeah. I have one, though.
He has
Very happy
one.
about that.
It's number 48 if you paid 52. But you
Great.
also had a couple of panels,
Yes.
and I was not able to see them.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Yes, I was in the kitchen. People were asking me if I can offer them fries with the magazine. I would nod and pretend it's a funny joke.
No, that would have been
each time I
good.
heard it.
Yeah, you should have done that. The people would have liked that a lot.
I guess next time I'm going to bring fries.
Yeah, bring a fryer and some oil and some fries.
So what were your panels about? I know that you had a debate with John Carvalho.
Yes, I had a one-on-one with John Carvalho on day one.
I wish he was here so I could ask him his side of the story.
And then on day two, I was on the unpopular opinions panel. Yep.
Yeah, and who else was there?
Giacomo was there. Giacomo Zucco, Peter Todd, Eric Voskuil, and myself. And Marty Bent. Marty Bent was...
The moderator.
He was drinking on the job.
Really?
Yeah, he was having a beer as the moderator. He's having a dad beer.
We barely started and we're already gossiping about other podcasters.
Yes.
I'm professional, just like my light setting right here.
Yeah, so it's very... Vlad moved this table like 400,000 times until this light hit perfectly.
I'm still not happy about my spot, but it's fine. I would need another light to my right. But let's talk about
You just
your
can't
panels.
rush perfection, right?
I can get Stanley Kubrick about it. Like, you know, in the film Dr. Strangelove or How I Love to Love the Atomic Bomb?
Yes, I know that movie. There's some game theory in that movie.
There is some game theory in that movie, and also there is
There's also
table
lighting.
for pool.
Oh, yes.
Like in the war room, they have a pool table, which they use. It's meant to represent the irony of the whole situation and how it's all a game. And Stanley Kubrick, even if he was aware that he was shooting in black and white, wanted the table to be green like a pool table.
Ah.
Yes.
Well,
Random trivia. About Stanley
that's
Kubrick.
exactly the same as this lighting situation in this podcast. Because every detail is important, and even though this is a big room we're in, it has to look like we're in a tiny corner to everyone watching.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight.
Okay, great, cool.
Not too many people are.
So wait,
gonna get
how
that
much of it
reference.
did you actually see? How much of the actual conference could you actually see? Were
Only
you
the
locked in the
presentations
kitchen the whole time?
That were before my panels. I had two panels.
Ah, okay.
The first one was about privacy, and I saw a little bit from the guy from Crypto Voices, who was talking about financial stuff. And I only caught the last 5 minutes. And before, no.
And you had
I
did
saw
you have
Douglas Beckham talking
Yeah.
about why air gapping is mostly placebo, according to his own research from Shift Crypto. I mean, the hardware wallet, not something else.
Okay.
In the context of hardware wallets, he was explaining why he still chooses the USB connection for the Bitbox 02. And after that, I had my panel about
Did you have
emerging markets.
Yeah, Prince Philip was on the panel.
2 months ago, I was on a panel with the president of Liberland. Yesterday, I was on a panel with Prince Philip of Serbia. I don't know where this is going.
We're talking royalty are coming to the Bitcoin conferences now. Okay, first Liberland, next Serbia, next
Croatia.
could be another country.
Or
Maybe
my home country of Romania.
Montenegro. could get that.
Nick Orlovsky, who's around here, is from Montenegro.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Shout out to Nick. He was on the podcast.
Okay, great.
So how did I become the subject of this conversation?
I don't know. We were talking about the. What are we talking about? I don't even know.
Let's talk about your one-on-one debate with John Carvalho.
Okay. Yes.
What
John, I was talking about with John. I sat down and Marty and I had no idea. Like some of the other panels, like when Aaron moderates the panel I was on earlier that day, he like messaged people the day before, which is still pretty. No offense, Aaron, but still pretty lazy as the moderator. The day before, and he's like, "Okay, we'll probably talk about this and this and this." He makes a little chat group,
Mm-hmm.
For the Marty Bent one, he just was like nothing at all. We just go up on stage, and he just goes.
Sorry,
he just goes up on stage. We never messaged about anything. I had no idea what it was even going to be about. He just goes, Marty Bent's like, "Time to talk about Drivechain," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I know about that, so I can talk about it." But I talked to John Carvalho like 10 minutes before going on, and he's like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Both of us had made lists of things. We made lists of things that we agreed and disagreed. We independently did that without even talking to each other. And then instead of using the list, Marty Bent just goes, boom, Drivechain conversation. So yeah, we talked about some different things.
On the list?
A lot of it was related. Like, it's hard to understand my point of view if you don't understand the sidechain point of view, because the sidechain point of view was once a point of view that many, many, many people, everyone in the Bitcoin community, like in 2014, this was like a kind of a taken for granted thing that everyone would want to copy anything useful that was ever invented by someone else. So
that's interesting. I should get the two of you on a podcast and let you have that conversation or debate that you were going to have.
Yeah, but did you watch the? Did you watch the? You haven't seen the one that we already did.
No.
So
of
then
course, I have to watch that.
Yeah, you have to watch that one.
Figure out what you haven't said.
People are having a great time watching us. This room is much bigger than it may appear on the USB camera, and people are having a great time here.
Supposedly,
walking by.
Someone who's walking around is dead nowadays.
Oh, he's dead? But we just walked by twice.
He died on Twitter, and people
I get it.
Sort of funeral processions and.
Well, that's the power of Riga, Latvia. The dead walk the earth.
Nobody dies.
One day a year.
We're on the blockchain forever.
Okay, that's good. So yes, that was fun. Everyone should give that a watch, or maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. Depends on what they're interested in.
If you were to summarize it, what would you say about it?
Summarize it? Well, I don't know. I thought John Carvalho has some pretty interesting ideas. He didn't seem to really understand the core sidechain idea that the coins exchange at par. Like that if you put 4 coins into the Lightning Network, for example, it gives you 4 coins over there. And same for the sidechain. If you put 4 Bitcoin into a sidechain, it's going to credit you with 4 coins. And if you take 4 coins out, it credits you with 4 coins on layer 1. So that's pretty straightforward. But he was kind of saying that the market price would still float, which it might, because the withdrawal is not perfectly convenient. But it would be like 99 cents on the dollar or whatever, or 99 euro cents on the euro.
They're the same nowadays. So.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, thanks to the equally rigorous fiscal and monetary policy of these great nations.
Are they still called peg-ins and peg-outs in Drivechains?
I don't call them that. I call them deposits and withdrawals. But, yeah, that whole peg-in, peg-out word is a weird phrase, It's like, what are people talking about?
It was interesting because it's
it's like they're a pirate.
Blockstream to define what you're doing when you lock your coins on the main chain and you get them issued on their federal.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, like, you could use whatever word you use. You could use the same word for the Lightning Network or something, So, you know what I mean? The coins go in and then they come out.
They call that channel opening and closing. So, it's end lock time, I guess. It's a function in the Bitcoin script, which allows you to conditionally lock the coins according to whatever you're doing.
Well, yeah, for the Lightning Open, you spend them to a multi-sig output, and you have transactions that could spend from that. Some of those have the locked. But ideally, none of those would ever be seen on the blockchain, the lock-timed transactions. So, how long does it take for your hair to dry when you take a shower or something in the morning? You know, because it's very long.
I think he's being ironic because I was late.
That's true. That's
He met
his
me later
excuse.
today.
I was having food with Vake, my friend, and then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that Vlad messaged me. So then I was like, oh, and then he was like, oh, it takes 4,000 years for my hair to dry, and I was like, oh, that's an important fact.
I actually borrowed a blow dryer from Vake. So
Really?
I could dry my hair faster.
Oh my
but
gosh.
It was in his room.
What a
We
coincidence.
rented the same Airbnb. He is manly and he's not traveling with a blow dryer.
Yeah, his hair is very short now too.
Yeah.
So he
it's
doesn't
just that
need one.
It happened to be in his room.
Okay, great.
So your second panel with Giacomo Zucco,
Yes. Oh, that was
What?
fun.
Eric Voskill,
Yes.
and who else was there?
Peter Todd.
Peter Todd. How could I forget?
Yeah, it just goes for it's taken for granted that if there's an unpopular opinions panel, that he's obviously is going to be there. Yeah,
I was in my
he's ever
booth
present.
at the time,
Yes.
trying to sell all the magazines. I think I sold 85 out of 100.
Oh, there you go.
But
It's a
basically,
B.
everyone was coming to me saying, "Have you seen that panel with Paul Sztorc and Giacomo and
Too bad
Peter
you missed
Todd
out.
and Eric Voskill?"
Hey,
It
but
was incredible.
it's all recorded though and everything, right? So people can
is.
watch it later.
But I'm trying to provide the viewers and listeners a teaser with a teaser.
A
for that.
teaser.
Like an
Oh.
introduction, which allows them to better.
We
grasp.
covered a lot of things. We covered tail emission. We covered side chains. We covered lightning. We covered hype. We covered what else did we cover? It went for a while. It was supposed to go for a little while, and then I think Marty Ben was supposed to do Rabbit Hole recap or something, but Matt Odell, he had to dry his hair, and it took a really long time, so he couldn't make it, and so they were just like, well, just keep going. So we went for like more than an hour, I think. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
What is your take on tail emission? The way I see
Oh,
it,
well, it doesn't
let
really
me
make any
finish
sense to
first.
me. Okay.
The way I see it, it's basically a super unpopular proposal that was introduced by Peter Todd. He most likely got inspired by Monero because that's where he found
yes.
it. And basically, it's a last resort in case we don't manage to secure the budget to pay the miners and keep everything profitable. But it's also difficult to figure out a fair percentage which makes sense over a long period of time. He was like 0.01% should be fine, and that's basically every 1,000 years you double the supply.
No, that's not it at all. It's not a percent thing. Tail emission is a fixed amount of coins per block.
Mm-hmm.
So there's never a fixed time of you double supply.
But if you have a fixed amount, over time you're basically after a certain number of years, you're going to affect the supply.
Well, of course, yes. No, like let's say you start with 10 coins and you add one coin forever. Then it'll take 10 years to double the supply the first
Exactly.
time, and then ittle take 20 years to double the supply the next time. Yeah. Then it'll take 40 years to double the
I
supply.
think the way that he presented it to me was 0.01% of the entire supply.
Is the
a
fixed
year.
amount. So that would be like you start with 10 coins and he's going to make like whatever, like a 30 thousandths of a coin or something every year forever. So it's not growing with a percent. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is never going to happen. And no one...
That's what said
yeah.
about Drivechains, no offense.
Well, did he say that actually? He may have said that. I don't know. But he...
Not on record.
Yeah, but definitely tail emission is not going to happen. And the whole thing is just that he had some equations, and he was like, "Oh, this is a surprising result that if you make this assumption that the coin loss is constant and uniform and random, then the coin issuance rate equals the lost coins rate." But that's only because so imagine the easiest way to understand his paper is to imagine the lost coin rate is 0. And then the question is, why is it not inflationary? What is the equation saying? The answer is the equation is saying that at time equals infinity, the coin quantity will be infinity, and then any finite coins you add per period will be 0%.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be 0 will equal 0 in that case. So that is all it's saying. All he's saying is if you add a fixed amount of coins, eventually there will be so many coins that it'll be a very tiny percent. But if the people are losing coins, then that quantity may be higher until people figure out how to stop losing coins.
Yeah, so it's never gonna happen.
Well, yeah, I think it will never happen. Yeah.
People signed up for a system where you have a fixed supply, and possibly I think that's the biggest shilling point. Not shelling point, shilling point.
Both, though, maybe.
But I still think that it can be a good emergency proposal 30 years from now if we fail to increase adoption.
Haha, yeah. I don't know. I just think like...
yeah, you think that Drivechains are going to
It's obvious that merge mining can fix it without anything else happening. So, for example, we've already been merge mining for more than 10 years. So that it's like it already exists. That would be the much better way to go because that doesn't involve high fees, that doesn't involve block size increase, that doesn't involve inflation. So that's obviously superior.
I remember interviewing Charlie Lee, and he told me that he's very happy about Dogecoin because it's merge mined with Litecoin, and basically even if Litecoin doesn't get traction and Dogecoin does, Litecoin still succeeds.
Do you think Litecoin is succeeding?
Depends on which metrics you're counting. I think they did something interesting with extension blocks and Mimblewimble.
Mimblewimble extension block, they did, yeah. I think in general, there's too much of a frame on technology and development. I actually wish this is one of the things we lost with the block size war. We kicked out some of the people who cared more about like merchant adoption and like user acquisition, and now we just care about who has a fancy Mimblewimble extension block, even if no one uses it. I mean, how many people do you know personally who have used the Litecoin Mimblewimble extension block?
I was
0 or like negative
so
10,000? Negative 400
so I
million?
received it and I passed it to someone else.
So you used it, and who did you pass it to? You don't know?
Some Twitter anon.
Who did you receive it from? A Twitter anon?
Mm-hmm.
So as far as you know, you're the only person who... Maybe there was one other person or two.
Most likely, yes.
Okay. Well, that
it's very hard to tell.
Sounds promising.
They got delisted from exchanges because of it. But
that sounds worth it.
To see what's happening. We talk about adding privacy to Bitcoin all the time. We get to see the consequences on Litecoin right now. We see the reaction of governments around the world and regulators and private businesses. Sometimes exchanges do it without any kind of compulsory regulations. They just try to anticipate what they think their government is going to
complain about. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree.
A lot of the
that makes sense.
Exchanges was preemptive.
I wonder how many exchanges list Zcash. I don't know.
Well, it's not like they list the private transactions for Zcash.
Yeah, but how many list the Zcash asset?
I think it's
even just T address. Yeah, could be. Well, if it's on Coinbase, then it's everywhere. You know.
Most likely. But I do remember Zuko tweeting about being happy with a collaboration with Chainalysis. So I think the scope and purpose of the project derailed a bit.
That might just be something clever you just say when you trick Chainalysis. You go to Chainalysis and you think, LOL, and then they're like,
LOL.
Thank you. And then they shake hands, and then you both write tweets about it. You know, like... What does that mean? That Chainalysis is going to defeat the Z address, zk-snark privacy? Somehow I doubt it.
That's a very small percentage. And the anonymity set is also small because you know who's using that. You can guess who might be behind transactions.
Yeah, Zuko's friend, Zuko's mom, probably. Yeah.
Speaking of Zcash, I told you that I bought Peter Todd's junk, right?
No.
Not.
You own the junk, though.
I own his laptop.
That has the radioactive thing from the first ceremony? Because, you know, they redid the ceremony later.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's one with Peter Todd and like 6 other people, and then there's one with like 80 people or something. And then the new Zcash 5, I think, does not. I don't know if this is true. Maybe I'm spreading misinformation. But I think the new Zcash 5 doesn't have the trusted setup. Because it's got Halo 2, not to be confused with the hit Xbox video game. It should only be confused with Zcash. Yes, not to be confused. That's, of course, we all know that's the real Halo. And then the Halo video game series is also, that's an also ran, you know? It's like a Johnny-come-lately.
The new kid in town.
But the other thing that is a Halo is the Zcash prover, the ZK prover. Either that or I have no idea what I'm talking about, and people from Zcash are going to be like super irate.
Zcash is
They're going to be like, "Oh my god!"
Podcast. We
that's good.
A bit, but
okay,
it's fine.
After Mt. Gox collapsed, that was really the precipice of me saying, right, this has to change. We need a totally transparent exchanging system and base it on gold instead of fiat.
Vaultoro is the hard money exchange which helps you beat inflation with instant swaps between the best stores of value known to man, gold and Bitcoin. Unlike most exchanges, Vaultoro understands the importance of transparency and security. All gold holdings are secured in top-tier Swiss private vaults and fully insured against theft, fire, and more. Maximize your purchasing power today by going to vaultoro.com/Bitcoin takeover. This is not financial advice, but gold has been humankind's most reliable store of value in the last 6,000 years. Do your own research. Use promotion code TAKEOVER for a one-time bonus of 1 gram of gold for the first 50 new customers buying gold with Bitcoin. Are you concerned that your friends, neighbors, or KYC exchange might know how much Bitcoin you own? It is time to take your financial privacy seriously with Wasabi Wallet, a free and open source wallet solution which makes use of mega coin joins to mix your coins with those of hundreds of other strangers. Thanks to the groundbreaking Wabi Sabi engine, your coins get divided in smaller, untraceable units, which grant you great anonymity for both hodling and spending. Download Wasabi Wallet 2.0 today at wasabiwallet.io and take advantage of the mega coin joins. It's free and it's open source, so don't trust, verify. What are you going to wear when Bitcoin hits $1 million? The same old $20 t-shirt? Try Maison Machi, the designer clothes made in Paris by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. They're not your average mass-produced sweatshop clothes. Machi will ask for your measurements and tailor every piece of clothing according to the shape of your body, so you always look and feel great in your t-shirt, hoodie, or dress. It's all made in France by real artisans who also happen to be Bitcoiners, which is why Maison Machi only accepts Bitcoin as payment for their clothes. Get a Maison Machi t-shirt or hoodie today. It might even help you find a girlfriend. And once you do get a girlfriend, you can also buy her a Maison Machi dress. Stop having fun looking poor and check out maisonmachi.com. That's MAISONMAACHI.com. What is the elevator pitch for Drivechains?
Oh, well, it just gives you everything, gives everyone everything that they want. So if you want new features, if you want the ZK Snark, you want Z addresses, if you want Turing complete smart contracts, you want large blocks, whatever it is, you could get that. Other people don't have, if you want small block layer 1 ossified code, you can get that. We're just giving everyone what they want. So the Drivechain is a sidechain idea, so it lets people just send the coins to different pieces of software. So all the software will compete. Will compete with each other, and so that is best for the user because it's competition.
It's an Opera situation, right? You get a Drivechain, and you get a
Yes.
Drivechain, and you get a space.
You could. I mean, I think there would probably only be like a few, but yeah, like a lot of people actually have good ideas. So the Zcash is a good example of a good idea, but it has the silly dev tax
and the pre-mine.
Yeah, all this weird stuff like that. So you just get rid of all that. Take all the technology. Take the ZK Snark mixer. Take the Z addresses that are private.
I did see that you made a demo on YouTube.
Yes.
In which you prove how you can integrate the main Bitcoin Core client on testnet with your Drivechain Zcash.
Yes.
Drivechain, that's what you call it.
Yeah, we call it Z-Side instead of Zcash.
Sidechain.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you take coins. You have your regular Bitcoins. You send them over to this piece of software, and over there, the coins show up, and it's like using a Lightning app or something. You send the coins over, and you have the coins there, and then over there you have Z addresses, and you have the Zcash super privacy, and then when they change hands, the new owners can eventually take them back to layer 1. So yeah, that's what it does.
Sounds promising.
Yeah. I think it's also the only way. The only way that Bitcoin can actually succeed at most of the things it wants to do, because there's a lot of disagreement over what the blockchain should contain, including the block size is one example. So whatever you pick for the block size, they can't be both large and small. So you have to turn one group away.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so that's difficult because money needs network effects, and we would prefer a unified community, like Bitcoin versus the banks. We don't want like Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus whatever Tron. I
mean, we have RSK, which is merge mine.
Yes, but it's the peg is federated on layer 1 because nothing else exists yet to do the peg with. People use these HSMs. This HSM thing, I think, is like unverifiable. No one can prove they're using HSM to you. Like, what if I said I have two organizations? One is a multisig one uses multisig to hold their coins, and the other uses multisig with HSM to hide their coins. Mm-hmm. And I ask you, which is which?
I don't.
There's no way of knowing. Especially if you just look at the blockchain. They're just two multi-sig outputs. So one of them, they say they use HSM, but how can anyone know that?
Well, doesn't Notch-Nor Taproot help with that?
How does it help with that?
Well, multi-sigs and normal transactions are going to look the exact same and have the same size.
No, but that makes it even more difficult to prove that someone actually is using an HSM, the hardware security module. HSM is like if you bring something on a plane and they say, check this box that you're not carrying any of these things on. If you if you're like, I'm bringing all of those things on the plane. It's like this piece of chemistry that can like explode and burst into flames and like burn a hole through the plane and like kill everyone. So I don't know exactly how they ship those HSMs around is what I'm saying. Presumably they use a boat.
A boat?
Yeah.
That's not about in Canadian. A boat.
Yeah, they use a boat. I mean, a ship, So I don't know how you would get those on an airplane. Because people would be like, what the? You put it through like the TSA, the scanner would be like, what is this?
Okay, what are the trade-offs of Drivechains? Or what is the major criticism that you received? I know
the criticisms are terrible, but I'll give you what they are. Some people say the miners can steal. But the miners can also steal from the Lightning Network, so the criterion is not a good one. The other thing is to steal, it takes months, 3 to 6 months of one hash not matching another hash. There's plenty of stuff that people could do about it if they wanted to react. There's plenty of natural consequences as well. Like if miners kill the sidechain idea, then the Bitcoin coin goes from being a coin that can do anything to a coin that can only do one thing, the layer 1 store value thing. And presumably its price would be greater if it could do everything and it was infinitely scalable and private and extensible and there's no disagreements. That would presumably be more valuable than if we lost that ability. And of course, all the transaction fees on all of the sidechains, which normally would go to miners, that would be over if they killed the idea. So that's a terrible critique. I can't believe that goes on for as long as it did. I think what actually happened was Blockstream wrote this paper in October 2014, and everyone was saying sidechains are great, and Peter Todd had to rain on everyone's parade. So he was like, okay, I'll come up with something to say. So he said this true thing that 51% can steal the sidechain coins. But really, 51% of miners can do an awful lot of stealing of Lightning Network, mainnet, other things, state chains, whatever. So it's very, very difficult to find something where the 51% miners cannot steal. It's almost impossible. They can certainly steal from the Lightning Network by just censoring the justice transaction from the blockchain. So they can empty the channel and give it to themselves.
Would you say that Drivechains also give more power to the miners?
They not if you are on layer 1. You're unaffected completely. So, but for the people who choose to opt in, you maybe could say that. But those users have chosen to opt into that. So you understand there's no when people say that, what they're implying is that miners have gotten more power at the expense of other people, and that the pie is shifted.
Yes.
But that's not the case in the slightest. So in that sense, the answer is no.
Would you say that the cost of validation for everyone else gets increased by adding Drivechains?
No, because it only in the sense that maybe adding check lock time verifier or something very tiny is the only thing that the BIP 300 script checks is this one tiny little hash. It collects these hashes, and it counts a little integer up from 0 to 13,000, basically, and that's all it does. And so it's very, very, very. The overhead is very small. Certainly, it's well within the efficiency that Bitcoin Core gains and loses as with every single one of the previous major releases has resulted in an efficiency change that is, I would say, at least an order of magnitude greater. So there's absolutely no significant increase on the node cost at all.
You argue that Bitcoin maximalism is BIP 300 and BIP 301, specifically because you're maximizing Bitcoin's potential by adding every chain functionality.
Yes, I think the Bitcoin maximalism shifted a little bit, where it used to mean that Bitcoin is almost certainly going to just there's no need for anything else. And so there's certainly a distraction to invest in an altcoin or something like that. But now, over time, it has shifted to mean something like, no matter what happens, Bitcoin's success is preordained or predestined. So no matter how many mistakes we make or how overconfident we get,
everything is good.
Everything will be good for Bitcoin. And So yeah, the sidechain idea was originally a maximalist idea that just said, hey, whatever anyone comes up with that's good, we'll just take because it's open source software. So that's why I say that this is maximalism. It says not only do we hate alts, but we're going to roll up our sleeves and do something about it, which is just copy their features so that anyone who wants the feature can have it, and also anyone who wants to create a narrative where the feature is important, where they say, well, Bitcoin is no good because it doesn't have such and such. Well, now you'll be able to say, well, yes, it does have. It has everything. So yeah, that's why I think it is. Anyone who's not a sidechainer is probably not. I mean, is really not a Bitcoin maximalist. But now there's the modern maximalist is just the preordained success of BTC, despite whatever Bitcoin, reality says. Yeah,
it's useless and it should not exist.
Yeah,
experimentation is bad outside of Bitcoin, but you can't do that on Bitcoin.
Right. Well, that's the new view is that Yeah, so like if someone has a new, like a Riccardo Spagni or Monero or something, if someone has an idea, what are they supposed to exactly do?
The creator of Monero, let's not.
But he was like the cultural leader of Monero, though.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm referring to the past also. So I'm saying, if someone has an idea they like, what exactly are they supposed to do? This is something that came up with me and John Carvalho, where I say that I talk about the freedom to ignore good ideas. And he claims that right, and I agree with that, but I say that actually comes with sidechains, because if you're saying you can never leave Bitcoin, no matter how good of an alternative idea you have. Maybe you have an idea that is objectively super good, but some say you can never leave, and if you start an altcoin, that's a bad thing, of course. But this is the problem: is what do you do with an idea that's good? So the whole sidechains idea is that we capture all the good ideas. But otherwise, people are in a kind of a dilemma, because they say, I believe in this idea. Someone really believes in whatever their idea is, ring signatures, or Turing complete, or whatever it is. And now the only thing they can do is launch an altcoin if there's no sidechains. So the lack of sidechains is what gives birth to the altcoins.
That's what I argue sometimes. That whenever you say that nothing except for Bitcoin should exist and it's all a shitcoin, you should also accept the fact that people are gonna move away and build their own shitcoin. And
a lot of, not as much of it. Some people say this is about taking money from people or whatever. It's many of these people who started an altcoin, they really just had an idea that they really liked, and then some of them, a smaller number, have said something like, "Well, this idea I really believe in, and since everyone else is scamming via altcoin, I'll give myself 20% or something, I'll pre-mine or whatever." But most of the people, there are of course many people who have just straight up used the altcoin and the altcoin world and the ICO world and the NFT world to just straight up take people's money. The smooth operators, they move in, and so there are many horrible people. Most of them are horrible people, but there are a lot of coins that where the whole reason the altcoin there's a lot of reasons the whole coin exists is because of a genuine creative idea that someone had, and they said, I think this could be great. And some people say, like a John Carvalho would say, that idea is not very good. But why is it up to him? If we had sidechains, then you could say, what, let me look at that idea. I'm my own sovereign human being, and I'm going to say, let me look at Vlad's sidechain, and I'm going to say, well, I can maybe put $20 in there at first, and try the idea out for yourself. It shouldn't be up to some third party to censor the ideas out. That is not reasonable.
What is your view on building stuff on top of Lightning? That's something that John Carvalho would argue, that we don't need any more blockchains. We just need to build stuff on Lightning.
Well, I wonder if you would still argue that, because I wrote a post. I was on the Bitcoin Dev mailing list. I wrote some emails earlier in the year, and then in April, just before the conference in Miami, I wrote a post called Lightning Network Fundamental Limitations. And then a couple of months after that, in June, John Carvalho hosted a kind of recorded, I don't know what it was. It was something like that. Yeah, something like that. And he put it on YouTube. Anyone can read it. And it has almost the same title. It was like Lightning Network, like Fundamental Limitations or something. And in that, he had Matt Corallo, he had Christian Decker, he had extremely elite members of the technical Lightning community. And they also basically agreed with the stuff that I had written in the post, which was very, very different than what most people, the layperson or even the Lightning enthusiast, believes. What the regular Lightning person believes is very different from like what Matt Corallo or Christian Decker believes. So I don't know if, John Carvalho hosted it, and he wanted to de-hype the Lightning Network a little bit. So I wonder what he would say if you asked him. Now, that was in June, and now it's 3 months later, so I don't know. I wonder what he would say if you asked him today.
I wish he was here, because I would ask him. But
what is your take on
stuff like, what's it called, block stacks?
What
the
about it?
.btc people.
Oh, the Stacks people?
Stacks, yeah.
Stacks, well, Stacks is a different coin. They raised $150 million, like, sort of selling they have this other coin. If we had sidechains, there would be no need for such a coin, and you could do whatever they were doing on the sidechain with no Stacks token. So the fact that people... the fact that we don't have sidechains is the whole reason why we have Munib raising $150 million to do Stacks, or in large part. So I think that's where a lot of people get confused about it. I don't know that much about it. I think it's supposed to do something like Ethereum. There's like a quasi counterparty part. There's a quasi because there's like an embedded consensus. It's like a parallel blockchain. So it's sort of sidechain like. They also do something similar to what Ethereum does, where you can like move the coins on Bitcoin via some kind of like a SPV. What is it called? A BTC relay or something. So, but I don't know that much about it. But I think a lot of people would just say, well, he raised $150 million. It must be suspicious. Which, yeah, that may be right as far as I know. Why? What's your take on it?
I think it's experimentation. It's not up to me to decide. I'm not technical enough to look into it. I can get angry at their shitcoin, at the STX or whatever they call it. But, they build stuff. It's open source. Maybe someone will take it and use it for another purpose.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not be as judgmental. As in, sometimes even in the shittiest project, there's something legit that comes out. And
that's true.
It's built. And we can reuse that. It's, as I said,
I
it's
agree.
open source software. We rename it. We use it on another layer or chain or anything else.
I agree with that.
We can even take their UX. Sometimes shitty projects have nice UX because that's all they got. The graphics.
Yes, yeah.
They need to be flashy. They need to promote something. So, yeah, there's something good in pretty much everything. I wanted to ask you if you read the Fiat Standard, because I know you're a big fan of Safe
I have not read it yet. I'm not sure if I will ever read it. I'm sure it's not very, interesting. It's not going to be very interesting to me, so.
I mean, that's a very Fiat answer from you.
You think so?
Because it was said after 1971.
Yeah, right. Well, his book is written after 1971, so isn't it just a Fiat book, right? All art after 1971 is no good, so including the Bitcoin standard and the Fiat standard, both written after 1971.
But that's not art, that's science.
Oh, okay. But isn't all science after 1971 also Fiat science?
Yeah, that's why you don't use seed oils.
Yeah, right, because seed oils are Fiat food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything other than meat.
A disturbing number of people are now leaving this room, leading us to maybe conclude that something important is happening somewhere else.
Probably. There's a barbecue somewhere.
Oh.
But I was worried that they locked the door and they left
Oh,
us
come
here.
on. They wouldn't do that.
What's that? I get a bag. She dumped her bag on me.
Now
Her name is Anna. She's the marketing director of Hodl. You can.
She did a great job.
To the camera.
And now he's a bag holder.
That was Anna, and she helped me with the magazine. So follow her on Twitter. Or are you on Twitter? Yeah. Also follow Hodl. Use peer-to-peer methods to buy your Bitcoin. They're not even sponsoring this podcast, but she thanked me.
Okay, great.
What are your closing words, Paul? We're getting kicked out.
We're not literally getting kicked out, but everyone else has left this room, leading us to believe that we should probably kick ourselves out. So what should we say? Baltic Honeybadger is a lot of fun. Read about BIP 300 yourself. Don't listen to other people. Read the peer review page and use your own brain to decide
I did
things.
read your peer review page, and
Yes.
I did see that most Bitcoin Core developers seem to agree with your proposal for Drivechains.
Oh, well, I said some people have agreed and many people have no comments, and then some people haven't agreed. But they endorse those two critiques that I think are not we should follow up with him to see if. But I was surprised. Peter Todd said yesterday that he still believes this whole. Peter Todd believes it's very bad if miners have a way. If some miners have a way of making money that other miners do not. But that's the entire history of the mining. Has just been new miners innovating and replacing the old miners in a never-ending sequence of improvements. And the idea that running sidechain software is even comparable with some of the investments that miners make in like millions of dollars of hardware, cooling. The idea that this would even register is bizarre. So I think the whole criterion is wrong. Blind merge mining solves it anyway. They don't even have to run the node. So the whole criterion is wrong. There's no way, even if you applied the criterion, there's no way that software would even measure up to all the other costs they have. The security, cooling, electricity, the ASICs. It's like completely insane that anyone would even. But that's the Peter Todd point of view on.
You guys are like
sidechains.
Berlin and Rimbaud. Actually, no, bad comparison.
Okay.
You're not
That's a good
modernist
comparison.
poets, you're not lovers. But they shot each other at one point.
Yeah, am I shooting him though? I'm saying his argument isn't good.
From the
He's
hip.
shooting me. Okay. Yeah, open timestamps.
They're pretty great.
Yeah.
I don't have any comments against them.
Yeah, me either. It's pretty straightforward though.
What about RBF?
RBG, you mean? RGB?
No, replaced by Phi.
Oh, okay. What about it?
That's a Peter Todd edition.
First scene safe, replaced by Phi. It's pretty good. It helps people. When your transaction is stuck, you're grateful that you have that in there. When you have your bad...
Is that not a double spend?
Well, they do first scene safe. So they say you're allowed to replace it as long as it's the same destination. And a bigger fee and the same destination, then people allow it. So it was kind of a clever compromise. All right. Looks like we'll have to wrap it up because your computer will die when it runs out of battery. So,
Mm-hmm.
the
are you gonna read Safedine until next time?
maybe. Yeah, I'll get right on that.
But seriously, what kind of books do you recommend to listeners?
The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch and The Elephant in the Brain by Robin Hanson. Those are the two best books, nonfiction books ever written.
Wow. I expected you to say, okay, go for Eric Voskill, Cryptoeconomics. It's a better book than Safedine's.
A lot of things are a better book than that. I think plenty of people have written a decent Bitcoin book. I don't know which one. Bitcoin book is my favorite, but I own quite a few now. So I'll have to try and figure that out and get back to you.
Did you look at the Bitcoin Takeover magazine?
It's good. It's really good. I looked at it. It's good. It's really good. I think people would enjoy it.
After you
All right,
read
I will do. I have the number one. I'm not sure if this is still the case, but I think for Robin Hanson's Elephant in the Brain, I wrote an Amazon review that was number one for a very long time. So
I'm gonna ask you for a review, and I'm gonna make sure it's number one because it's
Okay.
not on Amazon, but I can
you
boost
can just put it on
at
whatever.
the top.
All right, cool. Well, I think we have your poor computer is going to run out of energy, so we'll just say the mass has ended, right? St. Catherine, pray for us. Go in peace. You know.
No, I'm not Catholic. Sorry.
I know, but it's
I'm
the Bitcoin
Orthodox.
Uncensored. Are you really Orthodox?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
90-something% of Romanians are Orthodox,
Okay.
at least in papers.
How do they end the mass in Orthodox?
The mass. I'm trying to translate right now. What is the mass?
The mass is the weekly gathering of everyone.
On Sunday.
Yeah, and then they say the mass has ended. Go in peace.
It's pretty much the same.
Just in Romanian.
Yes.
All right, say it in Romanian then.
Domnul fie cu voi, slujba s-a terminat.
All right, great, cool. There we go. Okay, cool. Hey, thanks.
Thank you, Paul. It's
Hey.
always a pleasure.
Pleasure's mine.
And next time I'm gonna ask you more questions, and I'm gonna have a better prepared laptop.
Okay, cool. All right, great.
After Mt. Gox collapsed, that was really the precipice of me saying, right, this has to change. We need a totally transparent exchanging system and base it on gold instead of fiat.
Vaultoro is the hard money exchange which helps you beat inflation with instant swaps between the best stores of value known to man, gold and Bitcoin. Unlike most exchanges, Vaultoro understands the importance of transparency and security. All gold holdings are secured in top-tier Swiss private vaults and fully insured against theft, fire, and more. Maximize your purchasing power today by going to vaultoro.com/Bitcoin takeover. This is not financial advice, but gold has been humankind's most reliable store of value in the last 6,000 years. Do your own research. Use promotion code TAKEOVER for a one-time bonus of 1 gram of gold for the first 50 new customers buying gold with Bitcoin. Are you concerned that your friends, neighbors, or KYC exchange might know how much Bitcoin you own? It is time to take your financial privacy seriously with Wasabi Wallet, a free and open source wallet solution which makes use of mega coin joins to mix your coins with those of hundreds of other strangers. Thanks to the groundbreaking Wabi-Sabi engine, your coins get divided in smaller, untraceable units, which grant you great anonymity for both hodling and spending. Download Wasabi Wallet 2.0 today at wasabiwallet.io and take advantage of the mega coin joins. It's free and it's open source, so don't trust, verify. What are you going to wear when Bitcoin hits $1 million? The same old $20 t-shirt? Try Maison Machi, the designer clothes made in Paris by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. They're not your average mass-produced sweatshop clothes. Machi will ask for your measurements and tailor every piece of clothing according to the shape of your body, so you always look and feel great in your t-shirt, hoodie, or dress. It's all made in France by real artisans who also happen to be Bitcoiners, which is why Maison Machi only accepts Bitcoin as payment for their clothes. Get a Maison Machi t-shirt or hoodie today. It might even help you find a girlfriend. And once you do get a girlfriend, you can also buy her a Maison Machi dress. Stop having fun looking poor and check out maisonmachi.com. That's MAISON MAACHI.com.